Hello. Today I would like to talk about the Lara Viking Pelargonium. As you can see, the flower colour fades as the flowers age, but I think that's quite pretty. At the moment it's the very tail end of summer, beginning of autumn in Perth. So everything you see has survived the summer season. And the pelargoniums, especially the species Pelargoniums, they're good for that because they come from Africa. The species Pelargoniums, or a lot of them do, come from Africa. And a lot of them are succulent, like this one. You can see the main part of the plant. It has a few leaves on it, but not too many. And yeah, so this one is a hybrid. It was hybridized or bred in Australia in the 1980s, not by me, by someone else. And I'm going to show you the ancestor plants of this one. Now, one of the ancestors is Pelagonium echinatum, and that's one of them over there. Once again, it's a very sort of succulent, lumpy looking plant. It's got no leaves at the moment. So a lot of these Pelargoniums, a lot of them will just have a season when they have leaves, but they're bare for the rest of the year to stop the water evaporating from the plant. This one, if it can focus, it's got sort of thorny bits on it, spiky thorny pieces on the stems. I'm not sure if they're true thorns or they just have parts of the stem that's evolved to be spiky. Here's another one. And I'm not going to win any prizes for my plants. They're not showpieces, but I like them. They're curiosities. So that's Pelargonium echinatum. That will flower, but not for a very long period of the year. When it does flower, it's known as Little Sweetheart Pelargonium, because when it has flowers, they have little heart shapes on the petals. The sort of purpley part of the flower that's fairly typical of pelargoniums. They often have purple markings on the petals. So yeah, that's Pelargonium echinatum. So the other ancestor of Lara Viking is this one down here. Where are we? Yeah, there's one. It is called Pelagonium gibbosum or Gouty Pelargonium, and from that stem there you can see why. It has lumpy bits along the stems at the nodes, and the leaves are a beautiful sort of grey colour, and I'm guessing that the leaves have evolved to minimise loss of water through the leaves. Yeah, so it's known as Gouty Pelargonium. There's another one behind here. Behind there. Where are we? There we go. It's an interesting plant. You might find it not so pretty, but you know, I like them. Now this one has got a green flower. There's a flower. And what I really like about this one is the fact that the flowers have a scent at night time. It's a really unusual fragrance. It's kind of like bubble gum or almonds. I don't know, I just find it fascinating. I love scented plants. I really do. And what I found with this one, there's another little green flower. Let's see if we can focus on it. That'd be great. What I found with these flowers, they're only scented from sunset to midnight. And I figure the reason for that is that whatever it is that pollinates this plant is only active in those hours of the night. I'm guessing it would be a moth, but honestly I don't know. There's another flower here. Look at that. It's a bit faded, that one. So yeah, it's a curious plant. One thing I'm going to say about this plant, to caution you if you're growing it, don't ever dump it in the bush, because I figure it's got a pretty devastating potential as an environmental weed, because it's one of these things that is kind of evolved to snap off and then the cutting just fall to the ground and grow. And this is very easy to propagate for that reason. So if this gets damaged, a bit falls off, it goes on the ground, it will grow a new plant, and it survives anything. So it doesn't need anyone to come along watering it, which means it would naturalize. That's what a weed is. A weed is basically a plant that's naturalized, that will survive on its own. Well, that's one definition of a weed. I won't go into that today. That's a bit of a complicated topic. I love these plants, and they look after themselves pretty much. They will, this is the end of summer. They have survived. Yeah, and these are species Pelargoniums. Now that's a term used for Pelargoniums that are basically wild plants that people just grow, but they're not necessarily the product of nurseries or a lot of plant breeding. They're basically wildflowers, but not native to Australia, not these ones anyway. Yeah, so thank you for listening.